Thank you, Alwyn, Susan and Giovanni. Your passion and dedication is really apparent, and we thank you for everything you do to improve the lives of those living with amyloidosis. Next up, we're very lucky enough to have David Wiggins, who's going to come up and have a chat with Dr. Kwok and I about his experience of living with AL. So I'd like to just welcome David and Dr. Kwok to the stage. Hello. Come on up.
Okay. So I guess we thought that it would be best to have this more as a conversation. And the goal of us having a conversation with first David and then our next patient, Peter, was to share, for David to share his story. My ulterior motive, though, was that these are two amazing men who do have amazing stories to tell. And I saw how they found a way forward to where they are now. And I'm hoping that their different ways, and there are some overlaps as well, will also help many people in this room and whoever may be watching with wherever they're at now with their amyloid story. So I guess just want to ask, David, when were you first told, or when did you realise, first of all, that you were sick? And then the second double-barrel question, because I know you can cope, is how were you told and how did it feel?
Okay, well, it's sort of, well, I've been in treatment now for 2 years, so I was diagnosed in April 2021. Prior to that, I knew something wasn't right. I'd get sick more so than other people, and I wasn't too sure, and we get told that, you're just getting older and that sort of thing, and just kept going on with that sort of mindset from the doctors that I'd spoken to or whatever. I first presented in 2021 though with some chest pains and had elevated troponin levels, and at that stage I sort of thought, something's going on. I was been a pretty fit guy all my life. I was in the army, did PT courses and all sorts of different things. So it came as a big shock that I had something wrong with my heart. They gave me an angiogram and gave me some stock standard sort of like aspirin, amlodipine and some cholesterol drugs, and said that should sort you out or whatever. You've just had a minor issue. And then fast forward 12 months, then I turned back up and I got higher troponin levels. All of a sudden they're telling me I've got thickening of my left ventricle, and they did all sorts of different echoes and things, and then thought that I had a genetic issue with one of the valves. They had a genetic growth on my valve and things like that, and again just sort of went back home, and then all of a sudden I developed AFib and things went sort of a little bit sideways there. Spent about 2 weeks in hospital. I lost about 8 kilo probably in about 4 or 5, it was probably about 2 weeks. And
did the doctors at any stage around here have any idea? What were you feeling from the doctors at this point?
I thought I was really confused. Like, I had no idea. I didn't have any confidence that they knew what was going on. I'd been to a urologist, a gastrologist. Finally, my GFR level had gone down, and I was sent to a nephrologist. She sent me for a kidney biopsy, and they started that evening or whatever. they came in and they were just talking to me, it's going to be a long trip, it's going to be a long road, all this sort of thing, and I'm thinking, long road to where? It's like, what's going on? And the drugs have changed, and this is in at the start of 2023.
So that was their way of telling you you've got this thing.
Yeah.
They didn't even help you register necessarily what that thing was.
No. I think from all of the inputs, we got onto Google, which is probably the worst thing you can ever do. Yeah.
Would you advise that, Eleanor?
No, leave Google alone, because that sort of really freaks you out, especially when you're dealing with, when you're talking to the doctors and that don't know themselves, and yeah, so it was pretty ordinary when I was in hospital, and the doctor was so unaware that we ended up flying the boys back because I thought it was pretty bad. Yeah. And I'm just glad that my wife is who she is, and she's
I would actually
like
to ask the role of your wife in all of this.
Oh, my wing woman, my ride or die.
Because I think this is an important message. If everyone can identify a wing woman like your wife.
Yeah, I honestly don't think I would be here if it wasn't for her. I was still waiting for they did a bone biopsy, but I was still waiting for that to happen. And all the while, Liz I think she emailed you on all sorts of different email addresses, just guessing what they'd be. She was on the AAN website looking at the trials, and yeah, so
That's
yeah,
David,
she got me.
can I ask, it sounds like a very challenging time, and you're very lucky to have your lovely wife to support you. But for patients that don't necessarily have that one, wing woman or wing man, what other supports have you had to draw upon throughout your time? So friends, community groups, support networks such as the AAN and so on.
Yeah, so
if any.
Yeah, I knew very little about. We both did, but obviously my family was. They all dig in to try and find out as much as they can about things to help as well. Joining Facebook groups and getting some valuable information from those as well. And it's monitored and mediated so that it's, no one's doing medical advice, but they're pointing in the right direction to be able to get access to those things. So that's sort of where I've got a technology background, so that sort of helped get me into that. Yeah. Yeah.
So you were actually very, very unwell when I first met you. I think you had incredible internal resources with coping. Maybe it's hard for you to really pick out what they were, but how did you get from day to day? Because there were days when you couldn't stand and you were dizzy, and I don't really want to remind you too much about those days, but days when you couldn't walk down the corridor, clinic corridor, or breathe. It's often very hard to articulate, but what I saw was pretty amazing. How did you approach the day when you got up in the morning?
It's it does get challenging at times. It's quite hard to think back as to how unwell I was and how far, like I couldn't walk up the stairs, like we only got a short amount of stairs or whatever. I had to stay on one level and slowly build up from there. I guess I just focus on getting to tomorrow and then, and hopefully then that, what you're focusing on starts to get a little bit longer and stuff like that. But yeah, it was pretty tough. I really didn't think I was going to make it there for a little while.
Yeah.
And a couple of strokes didn't help as well.
you've sort of minimised a lot of what you've gone through, actually. But were there periods when you didn't have hope? How important was hope for you?
Yeah, I think, hope. I just hope, I just...
So it is a very personal question.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit hard to sort of put it into terms, like, what hope is, and, and I just see my family, and that's the thing that really gives me something, and we've got a granddaughter, and,
Lots
she just
of things
like,
to live for.
Yeah, there's so many things
Can I ask
feed off
David,
you.
what advice would you give to someone that's perhaps received a new diagnosis of AL amyloidosis, given your experience?
I think you've got to get in touch with people that know what they're talking about. That's the only way you're actually going to get the treatment you need, and get access to the resources as well that you need to not just deal with the diagnosis and the treatment, but just also the mental side of it as well. It's a real mental game. It's a long game, but yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
I think we're at time, so I'd just like to thank you so very much for sharing your experience and your valuable advice there.
No worries.